Hi, this is Amy Carlson from the Creative Permission Slip podcast. Kim and I worked together during my latest podcast launch, and in our first week, we ranked 124th in self improvement. Kim made the whole experience feel easeful and seamless.
Welcome back to the summer series. Today, I am going to be talking about recording and where I record, what other clients do for recording, and what I have found about recording. My name is Kim Parkinson, and you're listening to Podcasting for Your Spiritual Business. And this is the Friday summer series about podcast basics. And now here's the thing. I'm not an expert in everything for obvious reasons. I mean, who can be, but I can give you kind of a generalized overview of some of the things that, one, I can definitely give you an overview of what I love, but two, I can also give you an overview of what's worked for clients. I have a number of production clients that I help, and I have a number of coaching clients, everything in podcasting world. So I hear a lot of different stories from clients. I've actually tested different things with clients, without clients. And so I'm able to kind of just bring a few little tidbits of what I've used, what they've used to you. And so that is what this summer series is all about. If you have something totally that you love and I did not bring it up, please let me know. Send me a message at kim@kpcreativemedia.com. I would absolutely love to know what it is that you use that maybe I just didn't try, or I don't know about, or maybe I just missed. That can happen too. I'm human. So, all right. So on this particular one, we are talking about recording, and specifically what I record on. So I record in Zoom. I just open my Zoom and I just hit the button and I record solo in Zoom. I also record interviews in Zoom. And I just I make sure that in Zoom I record, if I'm doing an interview, I record both tracks so that I have both audio tracks, and then I also have the video. And that's where I record. I love Zoom for that. I do pay for the Zoom feature every year, which I guess, is definitely an additional expense. But I like the way that Zoom is able to, realistically, it's pretty stable, right? I live south of Boston in Massachusetts, and so I very rarely have a problem with my Wi-Fi. I mean, yes, there are times, obviously, I do. Everybody does, I think, right? But there is, for the most part, it's pretty stable for my location, my area, and I do love to record it. Now, I'm doing the summer series as a video, but my podcast typically is audio. I'm actually kind of doubling out for this video series. I'm doing some behind the scenes little mini case study for myself, but at the same time, I am not sure that I'm going to continue. So we'll see, right? We'll see. I don't mind being on camera, so that's not a big deal for me. But sometimes when you're interviewing people, they don't like to be on camera. So that's something to note, whether or not you're doing audio or video. Okay. Because if you're doing a video podcast, or you're doing mostly video podcasts, or maybe you want to always put out just videos and you don't actually have a RSS feed for your podcast, you only do it on YouTube, then Zoom may not be the best feature for you, because you can have a couple of different ways you can set up Zoom so that there's either the side-by-side view, which most of us look at, or you have whoever is the speaker is then the view. And that can be really annoying if somebody, say, coughs or like even just clears their throat. It will move over to them, and then you'll see them even though you're still talking. And so you'll see what they're doing. And there's just no way that Zoom doesn't record anything else. It only records just in that view. So be aware of the view that you are looking at when you are recording in Zoom if you are doing video. If you're not doing video, no harm, no foul. Just go with it. Go with what you got, right? All right. Other ones that I have used before I move on to ones that I know that you guys are probably going to wonder about and that I have very little knowledge about. And I will tell you that is true, right? So I have used Zencastr before. So I have a client, she records regularly in Zencastr. Zencastr allows you to pick up both audio and both video files. I think they are currently now still are a hosting platform. You can edit right inside of Zencastr. Zencastr is very similar to Riverside. I think that's the one I don't have a lot of experience in, but Zencastr allows you to do a lot of the edits inside of there, publish it. Typically, when she records, there's a couple of features there that I will mention. I don't know if this happens in Riverside, but definitely in Zencastr. It's better if it's in Chrome when you record. And then when it is, you have to click on there's like a little section or a little button next to the URL. I'm trying to think of what that was called. And you need to click there and say allow microphone, allow video, all of that. And you need to tell your guest that too, because otherwise then you're like, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? So, you just need to make sure that they see that. I do think that is very similar in other programs, but specifically I know in Zencastr, we've had that issue before when we've gone in and we've done some recording together with that particular program. So just know it is an audio first program. I think they're trying to get more into video. Do they have other features? Nothing that we use specifically. We're not using the editing format inside of there. And we're also not using any kind of like if they pull any reels or anything like that. We don't use that. Of course, Zoom doesn't do that at all. So there's that. Zoom will create a transcription for you if you have that feature on. So that's that. So that's a good thing to note. But again, it's usually in a raw file first. And so hopefully you've done some editing. And so maybe that transcription will have changed, right? So anyway, so very similar, very, very easy formats, basically like a click, go. You can actually create a recording beforehand as far as like, then you can give the link to where you're going to record to your guest. So you can do that. It's a very easy setup as far as that goes. I don't know what the pricing point necessarily is off the top of my head for Zencastr, and they might have changed, so just go take a look, and they probably have different features, different offers, different everything. So just go take a look, see if that's something for you. They usually have like a free trial, so you can always give that a shot too, if you feel like that might be something that you want to expand on. Now, along with Zencastr, I have also used, and I did have a subscription to StreamYard. Now, I loved StreamYard in the day, but I do know that it has gotten much more expensive. I really used StreamYard back in the day to stream to Facebook, to my Facebook group. When they took that feature away to make it not as easy, I then stopped my StreamYard at that point. I wasn't really a big StreamYard person to my Facebook group anyway. As a matter of fact, I haven't touched my Facebook group in probably 9 months. So, but there was that feature. And I had actually done a couple of like interviews, recordings on that. That's great because in that kind of platform, there is like a green room. And so you can talk to the person first before you actually go in, and you can do any kind of recording within that. You can stream it so that then you can see live questions, things like that, where you can record and people might be asking questions as you go. So if you want to do that, you can. That might be a little confusing for an interview, might be a little not what you're looking for. So it might be just best for streaming, but maybe you want that interactivity in your podcast episodes. So that's something to definitely consider. That is not something you're going to get with Zencastr, just so you know. I did recently have somebody ask me about the latency for the questions in StreamYard. And my answer was, if you're publishing this to YouTube only anyway, just go and be live on YouTube. And then you can then see the questions and the comments live, like interactive, like right there. And that goes if you're doing a podcast, solo or a guest interview, also just let the guest know that you're doing this live, because not everybody wants to be live, and then, at some point you can pull that down from YouTube after it does its rendering and all of that. And then you can edit it and put it up as an episode on your RSS feed if you want to. So you can do it that way too. So it's kind of a cool feature if you wanted to go the YouTube route and do video, but you go directly right into YouTube and just go live. So it's nice and easy. What's the other one? Okay. I use Descript for editing, and I'm going to talk about that in a different episode. But I do know that Descript has currently two ways for you to be able to use their feature to record. Now, you can open Descript and just start recording like Zoom and do a solo episode. I have not been happy with that. I love using Descript for editing, but I've not been happy with how the sound quality comes out, how that comes out. I don't know why. I just don't particularly like it. And so that's why I record in Zoom and then bring it over. Now, Descript also allows you to do, they originally got together with SquadCast. And so SquadCast is really hard to find. It's kind of like a hidden feature. They are trying to do away with it, I believe. So just know that they're no longer supporting it, according to them. But I find it to be a little bit more stable than their rooms. So they offer rooms, which is another thing. So here's the other thing. SquadCast, you can, again, like set up a whole recording, give that guest that link, and that guest gets the link, and then they can go and they can come in anytime. But rooms, there's currently no link. Maybe they'll fix it by the end of the summer, or maybe they'll fix it by the time this comes out. But right now, it's basically like, hey, meet me here right now. Thanks. See you soon. So I don't like that part of it. I mean, if it's okay if you do co-hosted or individual, or I don't know why you would do a Zoom or why you would do a room for an individual, but yeah, I'm not totally sold on Descript's feature for recording interviews either on SquadCast or rooms and on their solo recordings. They're an editing software in my book, so we're going to talk about them later and how much I do love them later. And then I'm going to tell you the last one, which is probably the most popular, the one you're like, hey, you forgot Riverside. No, I didn't forget Riverside. I have very limited knowledge on Riverside. I did go through my free offer of Riverside, months and months ago now. I was just not able to understand. Like, I love the fact that it records both the audio and the video. It was something along the lines of like, you need to make sure that they keep their browser open so that it uploads, and maybe it won't upload all of it and then you have to wait for them to upload their browser. I don't know, something along that. Maybe they've changed that, but that was how it was when I first started looking at it. I do know some people have said that they've had some problems with Riverside. None of these ones that are cloud are foolproof, right? So we're even Zoom, not foolproof. Although Zoom, I think you get a better idea of whether or not that's recording at the time. You can actually see that because it's recording on your device, right? Or your cloud system. But, Riverside, it's going up to them. Zencastr, it's going up to them. StreamYard, it's going up to them. So all of those, by the time your interview's over, by the time your episode's over, and you go back and you're like, oh, it stopped. The audio stopped, the video stopped. Oh, that's a bummer. And then you have to call them again and be like, hey, can you come back? And especially if you have somebody that's really, busy. Like, I've heard horror stories where people have been, finally gotten into the schedule of a doctor, a very important doctor. And then they do the interview and it didn't record. And then you're like, it didn't do that. So anyway, I don't have a lot of experience with Riverside. I will be honest about that. What I do know about Riverside is it records both audio, both video. It will do the editing for you, or it will help you do the editing. It will pull reels for you. It will do all of that type stuff, so that it's also an editing platform. It's also a hosting platform. So here's my thoughts on something that does all in one. It's great if it works. If it doesn't work, it's not great. So, but if that is one, what you can afford, or two, what you want to put up with, three, what you want to learn, all of that, then go with it. It's fine. You don't have to use any of these features that I mentioned. There could be something totally different that you're like, no, I absolutely love. That's fine. Use it then. Use it. And if it's something that you're like, Kim, why do you not know? Why did you not talk about this? Yeah, let me know, because I want to know more. I want to know what you're using to record on. So these are your episodes whether that's solo or a interview. These are what you're recording that on. There's one more recording software here that is also an editing software, but it is only good right now anyway. They did just do an update, so I don't know what the update is about, but only good for solos, and that is Audacity. Audacity is the OG of us podcasters. It is an editing software, but you can record directly into it. Oh, but you know what? So can you also record directly into your phone. You can also record directly into GarageBand. You can also record directly into, so many other different pieces or different tools, so whatever you want to record into. But those are usually only good for solos. Maybe you could record, I don't know if you want to record a interview on your phone. I don't know. Yeah. If you can make it work, more power to you. I'm here for you. I'm here to support no matter what. But right now, yeah, I'm going to stick with Zoom. I'm loving Zoom. I still think that it's the OG. Everybody knows how to use it. And yeah, it's fine. I do know of other people that are using other things that are not Zoom. I believe somebody that I know uses something called like Lunch Break or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but yeah, there's other platforms out there, other new things that they've come out with. Maybe you found a deal on AppSumo for somebody that had a recording software. Great, use that. Use whatever works for you. These are just some of the ones that I've used and some of the ones that I've had experience with. And obviously, Zoom's winning for me, but doesn't mean I won't use others. I have used Rooms, by the way. I did an entire interview with Jill Ripley from Uncovering Your Inner Power. She interviewed me and she used the Rooms feature for the first time. And I was in there and it was pretty cool. It was really pretty cool. So, but it worked. And that's the important part, right? When it works, it's cool. When it doesn't work, it's not so cool. So just give that a no. Just know that. Okay. All right. So this is basically it's like episode 2 of the podcast basics, where to record, how to record, or not how to record, but where to record. And yeah, it depends on what you're looking for. And it can be any one of these platforms that I've mentioned, other than the solo ones I mentioned at the very end. Any one of these will do more than multiple people. So more than 2, you can do that multiple. I think some of them you have a limit of maybe 10 people, but if you are doing an interview with 10 people, you're my hero, because that's a lot of people in one room for you to be talking to at a time and doing a podcast interview with. So, all right. Remember, where your voice flows, your business grows. And on Tuesday, back to the regularly scheduled audio side of the podcast. And I'll bring you another podcast basics next Friday. Until then, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me today. If you're ready to deepen your visibility and grow your podcast in a way that feels aligned, come join my email list at kpcreativemedia.com/newsletter, where I share exclusive guidance, support, and next steps. And if this episode resonated, I'd be so honored if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the most powerful ways to support the show and help other spiritual women discover it. Until next time, keep showing up and sharing your voice.